If you're living with chronic pain, chances are you've been told it's just part of getting older, or it's stress. Or maybe you've even been made to feel like it's all in your head. Well, we're about to explore a totally different perspective, one that argues the real root cause of your pain has been overlooked, and the solution might be hiding in plain sight. This is a really powerful statement, and it comes directly from the source material for this explainer. It gets right to the core of the problem. This idea that your constant, nagging, frustrating pain, it's not some personal failing. It's a physiological signal. It's your body trying to tell you something important, a signal that, unfortunately, is very often missed. So let's start with a reality that probably feels all too familiar. You feel like you've done everything you're supposed to do, right? You've followed the advice, you've tried all the treatments, but you're still stuck in that same old cycle of pain. You know, it's an incredibly frustrating place to be, and it really shines a light on a problem that conventional medicine just struggles to solve. Does this list look familiar? It's that endless loop, isn't it? Physical therapy that helps for a bit, a cortisone shot that gives you a few weeks of relief, popping so many NSAIDs that your stomach starts to complain, or maybe even being prescribed opioids that just leave you feeling foggy without actually touching that deep underlying ache. You see the pattern here? Every single one of these is just a temporary fix, and that's because none of them get to the real issue. And this right here is the crucial point. Standard medical practice is fantastic at treating the symptom, the inflammation, the muscle spasm, but it's kind of like just hitting the snooze button on a fire alarm while the fire keeps burning in the background. That alarm, your pain, it's just going to keep going off. The whole idea here is that we need to stop just masking the fire and start looking at what's fueling it in the first place. So what is that fuel? Okay, this is where our focus is going to shift. The central argument we're exploring is that for millions of people, especially for over 40, the fuel for chronic pain is actually a decline in key hormones. It's this critical connection that is so frequently missed in a standard pain workup. This slide just lays it out perfectly, contrasting the two mindsets. On the left, you've got the path you've probably been on, chasing symptoms, masking the fire, and only ever getting temporary relief. But on the right, you see a fundamentally different approach, addressing the signal, controlling the fuel, and actually aiming for a lasting solution. So let's dig into the specific hormones that are fueling this fire. A lot of people hear testosterone and they just think it's a male hormone, but it is absolutely vital for both men and women. When your testosterone levels drop, your muscles, which are basically the shock absorbers for your joints, they start to weaken and deteriorate. At the very same time, inflammatory markers in your blood surge and your overall tolerance for pain just plummets. We're not just talking about numbing pain here, we're talking about rebuilding the very structures that prevent it. And then there's estrogen. You can think of it as a master regulator of your brain's own natural painkillers, things like serotonin and endorphins. So when estrogen levels start to fluctuate or totally crash during perimenopause and menopause, your body's ability to manage pain gets severely compromised. This is why you see worsening migraines, more intense fibromyalgia flares, and that horrible, burning, tingling neuropathic pain. It's like a direct hit to your central nervous system's defense shield. Okay, so we've identified the problem, right? Hormonal decline can create the absolute perfect storm for chronic pain. But what about the solution? Let's get into the specifics of how restoring these hormones can actually work to reverse the damage and reduce pain right down at the cellular level. Now, it's really important to understand what we're talking about here. This isn't just about managing hot flashes or something. Bioidentical HRT in this context is all about systematically rebuilding your body's own natural pain defense system. The goal is restoration, not just masking symptoms. It's a fundamental shift in strategy. So, how does it actually work on a biological level? Well, you can think of it as a four-pronged attack on pain. First, neuroprotection. It helps shield your nerves from damage. Second, it acts as a really powerful anti-inflammatory. Third, by preserving your muscle mass, it gives better support and stability to your joints. And finally, it can actually reverse something called central sensitization, which basically means it helps turn down the volume on pain signals in your brain. And look, this isn't just a theory. This is backed by real, peer-reviewed science. For instance, a 2018 study in the journal Menopause found that women with fibromyalgia who received bioidentical estradiol therapy saw their pain scores drop by a staggering 42% compared to a placebo. That's not a small change. That is a huge, life-altering improvement. Okay, so if the science is there, how do you actually put it into practice? Well, the source material we're looking at outlines a specific physician-led protocol from a clinic called LifeWellMD, designed by Dr. Ramesh Kumar, that moves beyond guesswork and into what he calls precision medicine. And the process is very systematic. It all starts with advanced diagnostics. We're talking about measuring what truly matters, like your free testosterone and key inflammatory markers. Then, it moves to customized bioidentical hormone therapy, dosed specifically for your unique body. And finally, it uses a technique called integrative stacking, which combines hormone therapy with other cutting-edge therapies to speed up your healing. And to see what this can actually do for someone, the source shares the story of a man named James. He's 58 years old, and he was told he needed double knee replacement surgery. But after going through this protocol just 6 months later, he was able to cancel that surgery entirely. And as Dr. Kumar says, this is not a miracle. This is precision medicine. It's all about using precise data to get predictable, powerful results. And that kind of precision comes from real expertise. The source makes it a point to highlight that this whole protocol is led by Dr. Kumar, who's a board-certified physician with over 30 years of experience and training from Harvard Medical School. So we're not talking about some cookie-cutter franchise clinic. This is expert physician-led care. So after taking in all this information, you're really presented with a clear choice. It's about deciding whether you want to continue down the same path you've been on, or if you're ready to try a new one based on this completely different understanding of pain. And this slide really lays out those two paths very starkly. On one side, you have the familiar cycle we've been talking about, which, let's be honest, often leads to worsening pain and more drastic measures down the road. But on the other side, you have a path that's focused on getting to the root cause, on rebuilding your body's natural defenses and aiming for real, lasting relief under expert medical care. And that really brings us to the core question, doesn't it? After hearing all of this, are you ready to stop just treating the symptoms and start investigating the underlying signal? Are you ready to explore a path that targets the potential root cause? If the answer is yes, then here's the clear next step. You can schedule a comprehensive pain and hormone evaluation by visiting LifeWellMD.com or by calling 561-210-9999. This is the starting point for their entire precision medicine protocol. So we'll leave you with this final thought. For so many people who are trapped in that cycle of chronic pain, the search for relief can just feel completely hopeless. But this perspective offers a whole new direction. It asks a simple but really profound question. What if the solution to your pain isn't where you've been told to look? What if it's been in your hormones all along?